A single family controlled more wealth than most governments. They financed wars they never fought, built cities they never ruled, and made fortunes from a product that destroyed millions. Then they vanished. No revolution toppled them. No scandal exposed them. They just disappeared. This is the story nobody teaches. The empire hidden inside the empire. Baghdad, 1829. A man runs. Not from soldiers. From suspicion. His name is David Sassoon. His crime? Being too successful in the wrong place at the wrong time. The Ottoman Empire doesn't forgive wealth without permission. So he takes his family and flees. Everything left behind. Except one thing. Knowledge. He lands in Bombay. A refugee city. Crowded, hot, chaotic. The British control it, but barely. It's a trading hub with no center. Perfect chaos. Most exiles would hide. Start small. Stay invisible. David Sassoon does the opposite. He sees what others miss. Britain needs cotton. India grows it. China wants silver. Britain has opium. Someone has to connect the dots. He decides that someone will be him. But there's a problem. The product that makes the system work is illegal in half the places it moves. Here's how it worked. British India grows opium. Massive fields. Government controlled. China bans it. Officially. But demand? Skyrocketing. So a shadow economy forms. Smugglers. Middlemen. Financiers. The British government can't touch it directly. Too dirty. So they let private merchants do it. Enter the Sassoons. They don't smuggle. They don't sell directly. They do something smarter. They finance the ships. Insure the cargo. Handle the payments. They become the invisible infrastructure. The system needs them more than they need any single transaction. Risk spreads across 100 deals. Profit concentrates in one family. By the 1840s, their ships move under British protection. Their warehouses stretch from Bombay to Hong Kong. They're not breaking laws. They're operating in the gaps between them. And the gaps are huge. Now the money starts multiplying. Not just from opium. From everything opium touches. Cotton. Textiles. Shipping. Real estate. Every trade needs credit. The Sassoons provide it. Every port needs storage. They own it. Every merchant needs insurance. They sell it. It's a web. And they're at the center. But here's where it gets darker. China is collapsing under addiction. Entire regions hooked. Productivity gone. The Qing dynasty tries to fight back. They burn opium shipments. Execute dealers. It doesn't work. Because the British Empire goes to war. Twice. The Opium Wars. And guess who finances the aftermath? The Sassoons don't start the wars. But they profit from the peace. Ports forced open. Trade agreements signed. Shanghai becomes a colonial playground. The Sassoons build there. Banks. Warehouses. Mansions. They're called the Rothschilds of the East. Not an exaggeration. A business model. David Sassoon dies in 1864. But the empire doesn't. His sons spread across the globe. Elias in Shanghai. Albert in London. Each one a node in the network. They stop being merchants. They become bankers. This is the shift that matters. Merchants move goods. Bankers move everything. They finance railways. Mills. Entire industries. They don't just profit from trade. They create the conditions for it. In India, they build textile factories. In China, they own chunks of the Bund. In London, they marry into aristocracy. Queen Victoria knights Albert Sassoon. From refugee to Sir. 1 generation. But something else is happening. The system that made them rich is changing. Corporations rise. Bureaucracies replace family networks. The world doesn't need dynasties anymore. It needs institutions. 1929. The crash. Global trade collapses overnight. Shipping stops. Banks fail. Currencies crumble. The Sassoons lose billions in paper value. But they survive. Because they've learned the first rule of empires: adapt or die. They shift into property, manufacturing, finance. But the cracks are showing. In China, nationalism rises. Foreigners become targets. In India, independence movements gain power. In Europe, war is coming. The Sassoons are everywhere, which means they're vulnerable everywhere. 1938 Japanese forces invade Shanghai. The family abandons China. Assets seized. Buildings lost. Their empire in the East collapses in months. World War II finishes what the Depression started. After 1945, the world reorganizes. Colonies become nations. Private empires become regulated industries. The Sassoons still exist. But the system doesn't need them anymore. Their firms get absorbed. Their assets nationalized. By the 1960s, the name means nothing to most people. A historical curiosity. A footnote. But their model? It never died. Look around. Global corporations today do exactly what the Sassoons did. They operate across borders. They exploit regulatory gaps. They turn instability into profit. Amazon doesn't conquer territory. It conquers logistics. BlackRock doesn't rule governments. It finances them. The tools changed. The strategy didn't. Here's the part that matters. The Sassoons built their empire on two things: control of information, control of capital. They knew what moved where before anyone else. They had money when others needed it. That's power. But it's also fragile. Because empires built on imbalance always collapse. The Opium Wars created the conditions for their rise. The World Wars destroyed those conditions. They couldn't adapt fast enough. And today, we're watching the same pattern. Tech giants, financial conglomerates, global supply chains. All built on the Sassoon model. All facing the same question. What happens when the system becomes too complex to control? When the gaps you exploit start closing? When the nations you depend on stop cooperating? The Sassoons proved something. Wealth doesn't need an army. Power doesn't need a flag. You just need to be essential. Until you're not. Their buildings still stand in Shanghai. Their philanthropy still funds institutions. But their empire? Gone. Not destroyed. Dissolved. Because in the end, every system eats its architects. History doesn't remember who was smartest. It remembers who built something that lasted beyond them. The Sassoons didn't. The question is, will we? If this changed how you see power, subscribe. We're just getting started.